Hi, I am Dr. Portia Jackson Preston, and I am joined today with two of my research assistants at the self-care lab called Exhale, which stands for Examining Holistic Approaches to Leadership and Education at California State University, Fullerton. So I'm going to have both of my students introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Hannah Peterson. I am an MPH student at Cal State Fullerton, working with Dr. JP.
Hi everyone, I'm Delia Sanchez and I'm also a first year graduate Masters of Public Health student at Fullerton working with Dr. JP.
Great, so I'm really happy to have both of them here today, and the reason we're here is that we've been doing a research study on self-care, and with all that is going on, we really wanted to take a moment to check in with ourselves. We are trying to practice trauma-informed research, which means that as we're sitting down and reading about the traumatic experiences of others and experiences of secondary trauma, we want to make sure that we ourselves are checking in with ourselves. I've had everyone in the lab develop their own self-care plans, and we've been checking in regularly. And so now that we are completely remote as a research team, I want each of us to check in with ourselves about our self-care plan, and we thought it'd be a good opportunity to share it with other people. You might want to do this with your students, you might want to do this with your lab, you might want to do this with your workplace, or if you're watching this at home, you might just want to do this for yourself. So the first thing that I would like to do is share with you the self-care plan template that we are using. So this is on the University of Buffalo School of Social Work website, and the introduction to self-care really talks about what self-care is, and it talks about the aims of self-care and then the resources that are available on this website. So what you want to do is go to developing your self-care plan, and once you are there, there's a number of steps. We are focusing on the first 4 steps. So the first step asks you, how do you cope now? And we've already done this. We did a lifestyle behavior inventory where we had to think about what are the things that we do that are either positive coping behaviors or negative coping behaviors when we are under stress. So that's the first thing that you want to fill out. The second step is, what do you do for self-care now? And there is a self-care assessment. It's about 3 pages. And it goes through different categories of physical self-care, psychological self-care, emotional self-care, spiritual self-care, and relationship self-care. The next item that we do is the maintenance self-care. This is the crux of your self-care plan. And so for every category, we talk about what are our current practices related to our mind, body, emotions, and spirits, work, relationships, and then there's 2 other categories, so you can fill in your own. What is your current practice and what is your new practice going to be? And once you complete that, there is a page that talks about what are your barriers to maintaining your self-care strategies. How will you address these barriers and remind yourself to practice self-care? What are the negative coping strategies that you identified on your lifestyle behavior sheet that you would like to use less or not at all? And then finally, what will you do instead? And then the last part of the plan, which is where we're living right now, is our emergency self-care plan. And so this sheet has us go over our self-care plan and identify, when I'm not able to do these things, what are the things that I'm going to do to take care of myself. So it mentions who you want to reach out to, what kind of things to do to make you happy, what are examples of things that you can say to yourself to encourage yourself. It talks about negative self-talk and maybe people and things that you want to avoid. So with that introduction, there's some further steps there that we're not going to follow today, but we're going to come back together as a group and we're going to start talking about our plan. So Hannah, would you like to lead us through the questions that you prepared?
Yes. So I asked my lab just a couple of questions to discuss about how we've been using our self-care plan. And so the 3 questions I'm going to ask everyone is, what is one thing that you've done for yourself in light of the recent events to help you manage stress? Have you referred to your self-care plan or your emergency self-care plan? And if you haven't, how will you use it going forward? So for me personally, I have been a little stressed out recently. So I have leaned on my mom, who I have referred to in my emergency self-care plan. I called her up the other night and she kind of just helped walk me through and kind of just talk my stress out, which was really helpful for me. She reminded me to, I was working on a paper. So she said, okay, just save your work, close your computer, take 30 minutes to just do something for yourself. So I went and I took my dog on a walk, which was really nice to just get out into the open air. And I came back and I felt refreshed a little more. So I was able to get back into my paper. So that was really nice for me. Also, I have exercise as one of my portions of my emergency self-care plan. I really like to just get active, and I had noticed that when my stress had started going up, my workouts had started to go down. So I did a quick little 30-minute cardio class on my TV, which was really fun. It was a lot of punching. It's called body combat. So I was like able to punch a lot, which was really fun. So that's how I've been using my emergency self-care plan, just kind of taking it day by day.
Okay, great.
For me, I also lean on my family. When I'm very stressed, they can tell without me telling them what's going on. They know it's related to school. So they always check in and, motivate me, encourage me, and just tell me to also take a break to just like pull myself together again. Recently, other than schoolwork, it hasn't been anything major, but that's typically how it is. And then one of my things was to exercise more, but just like Hannah, get more stress, and just I think to myself, there's not enough time in the day for me to go to the gym, because that hour or so I could be spending it doing like my assignment and not be as stressed. But now in the situation that we are, I'm definitely doing more home workouts and taking that day by day.
Great. Okay, well, you guys both did a fantastic job with that. Thank you so much. So the one thing that I've done for myself in light of the recent events to help me manage stress, the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to figure out how I could use my resources to help other people. And that made me feel really great, but it wasn't really my self-care. And so after that, I crashed pretty hard. And I began to feel all the feelings that I probably wasn't feeling when everything started to unfold. The shock started to wear off, and I was left with a lot of raw emotions. And so I had a night where I just didn't sleep at all. And so yesterday, I told my husband my plan was to definitely not look at my phone at all after a certain time. So we watched a movie, and then I made myself meditate to my own breath. I always prefer to use an app, but the trouble with using an app is that it often leads to me being on my phone. And so I actually got about 9 hours sleep. And that was amazing because I'd gotten 2 hours the night before. And I always talk about my struggles with sleep. So this is nothing new, but I have to make sure I don't want to be going through any more stress than I have to. I don't want to be in a position of chronic stress. And so really just making sure that I get sleep is helping a lot. How I refer to my self-care plan, I feel like I have my self-care plan playing in the back of my head at all times. So one of the things I said I was going to do is notice when I was overthinking and meditate. I do think I've been doing that. So that would be my mind one. My body, I was supposed to be working out certain times or certain number of days per week, doing different activities that I love. I'm trying to figure out how to integrate some of those now that I'm staying closer to home, but I definitely am trying to walk every day, and that's helping a lot. With my emotions, I put that I wanted to journal more regularly. And what's really working for me is using the Uber app, which is like an artificial intelligence tool that uses cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. Mm-hmm. So checking in with that with my emotions, it's been really helpful. As far as spiritual, I'd said that I wanted to pray, read, sing, church, nature. These are all things I do anyway. I said I want to continue taking more hikes. That may not be realistic right now, but taking some walks, as long as we're allowed to around home, is really helping. And I'm also praying more. That's helping a lot. As far as work, I think I need to really look more into this. I talked about blocking out quiet time for writing, and that's hard to do when I'm trying to prioritize putting all of my classes online, but I really have been thinking about that. I put that I was going to take lunch every day and not just eat while I was at work. So I feel seen on that one because I really was eating at my computer the past few days. And I said that I would communicate my boundaries and check email less often. Again, I have to work on the email a little bit because right now I think we're all just open, right? Mm-hmm. But I have been communicating my boundaries. My relationships, I did date nights once a week. And right now that just really needs to be creative. Like, what am I going to do at home? So one of my practices was making brunch, if nothing else. I can continue to do that. Also, I have to shout out my husband. I said I didn't have any water at the beginning of this call and he brought me water. So this is part of my relational self-care. Okay. But also I said I would write letters to older relatives, and this is such a perfect time to do that. So I want to do that a little bit more. And then my financial, I use You Need a Budget software to keep track of my budget. And I know I need to sit down and reconcile my account. So that's everything. As far as my emergency self-care, I do remember that listening to music helps me when I'm overthinking. So I want to do that more. It's not possible to be with my family and friends as much as I would like to, but I can definitely do Zoom calls. And like I said, write letters. Taking moments to exhale and relax. Absolutely. I want to make sure 5 minutes every hour if I'm working, I am taking a break and not just standing while I work, but really walking away from the computer, stretching out a little bit, letting my mind breathe. I know the people that I can reach out to. My hard thing is I tend to reach out to people asking them what they need. And so I need to force myself to reach out for support and be really honest about who I can do that with. And all the things that I said I could say to myself when I'm having a hard time are just nice to read now. I'm glad I wrote that down. I know there's a list on here of who to avoid when you're having a hard time. I would just make that very broad and say anybody that's going to stress me out. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm super happy that we did this as a lab because now we can have a common conversation with each other. And I'm excited to see where we're going to take our work in the next few weeks to potentially create more resources about this. So, do you guys have any thoughts on how you want to continue using your self-care plan moving forward, or what might change in light of this?
For me, I think it's more what you said, like actually when I filled it out, now it's more in the back of my mind, like the things that I either used to do or I don't really do anymore. Yeah. And so now, like with all this going on, I won't be working either for a month. So I'm just going to be home. And I was like, I really like reading. Like that's something that I'm really going to pick up on now. So it's more like, now that I did it on paper, I have it more like a mental note. Like, these are the things that I should go back to doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think for me as well, I've been relying more on my emergency self-care plan of what I can do like at the moment when I am at my highest stress. And I think I just want to go back to being able to just focus on my normal self-care plan where I'm just, not so much where I'm trying to get my head above water, but once I do get there, to be able to keep it that way and to refer back to the specifics of all of each of my individual things, getting back on track to a consistent gym workout schedule, or reaching out to more people as well. So I think that's what I'm going to look forward to in the next coming.
I think when we first sat down and did our emergency self-care plan, we think of this far off time, like, oh, I'm probably not going to need this. And then this past week, it was, oh my God, no, wait, I need this. So I think you brought up a really great point about having both and being able to use them as the situation arises. What we might want to do with these emergency self-care plans is really just have them right there on our desk, really having them handy. So we remember as we start to get stressed out, this is what I said I would do, right? Yeah. And I know for me, I'm going to put the Uber app right on there. It helps a lot. And I think people should find tools that work for them. I usually like to recommend things that are free, and it does have some features that are paid. So whatever it is, I'm going to try to keep updating resources on my website. We're going to see what we can do as a team to augment that a bit. But I'm so proud of you guys for being open to this work. I'm happy that you've been taking the opportunity to revisit this. And I'm most grateful that it's really been helping both of you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So you guys got to meet my amazing research team. Hopefully you'll meet more of them in the time to come. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. We'd also love to hear how you're using your self-care plan in your life. I'll put links below with the websites that you need to know to take action. Have a great day.
Bye.